What is going on, everybody? Xaenca here, back once again with another dose of toxic masculinity. Now, I was just sitting here wondering what should I talk about, and as I was randomly checking the comment section, friend of the channel Mike Hogan was nice enough to comment, "Get over your Brie Larson butthurt." And I was sitting here like, whoa, what the fuck? How in the hell did you make that connection? Because you're commenting this on a Birds of Prey video, of all things. This is Margot Robbie, not Brie Larson. What the fuck? Now, if you're confusing Margot Robbie with Brie Larson, there is something severely wrong with you, friend of the channel Mike Hogan. Because one is a beautiful, stunning actress, while the other is a Lego-faced biatch. So, but that reminds me. I haven't talked about this Lego-faced biatch since September of last year. And because Mr. Hogan, Mike Hogan, friend of the channel, was nice enough to remind me that my butt is still hurt, let's go ahead and talk about our favorite person in the world, Brie Larson. Now, one of you guys sent me this article from Showbiz Cheat Sheet called "Brie Larson and Gal Gadot Call for an End to the Marvel vs. DC Fan Wars." And this is by wannabe superheroine Becca Blesnak. But right off the bat, I can already see that I'm going to disagree with this article, because why? Why put an end to the fan wars? It's fun. Just because there's a rivalry between the two doesn't mean you can't like both. Some people just prefer one or the other. And I say this all the time, when there's a rivalry, you want to beat your competition, you want to one-up them, you want to do better. Competition is good for all industries, so why in the hell would you put an end to the fan wars? It's so stupid. But anyway, let's dive right into the heroics of this article from wannabe heroine Becca Blesnak. It's hard to go online these days without seeing the contention between fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and those who prefer the DC Extended Universe. There's people who prefer the anyway. And no one knows about this more than actors Brie Larson and Gal Gadot, who serve in pivotal roles in their respective universes. Still have to double back, does anybody prefer the DCEU? I mean, it's different when you're saying DC Comics and Marvel Comics, obviously. There's people who prefer one or the other, or like both. Doesn't really matter, but do any of you actually prefer the DCEU to the MCU? I doubt there's many of you, if at all. And if you do exist, comment why you prefer DCEU down below. I'm really curious and want to hear from you, but back to the article. But just because they've been pitted against one another by the internet doesn't mean that they agree to this. They understand that they're playing a part, but the fan allegiance attitudes can get in the way of simply enjoying a film. It really doesn't matter whether or not they agree to this, because yeah, you guys are just playing parts, but you're playing parts in rival companies. So if fans want to make comparisons, they're free to do so. I don't know what the issue is here. Here's what the actors have faced separately and why they're calling for an end to the comparisons and hate. Brie Larson has faced Backlash as Captain Marvel. We're all very familiar with that. V-Chill RN. Gotta love that millennial/Gen Z marketing, am I right?
How do you do, fellow kids?
It hasn't been an easy road for Larson. As a late addition to the MCU, she entered a fandom that had been prepared for Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow to lead the first female-fronted solo entry. On top of that, Captain Marvel was released just prior to Avengers Endgame, the most anticipated of all MCU films. It's a big job to preempt that. Wait. Why is this worded like Captain Marvel coming out before Avengers Endgame was like some kind of handicap? We all know that that's the only reason why the movie made over $1 billion at the box office, because people were super hyped about Avengers Endgame. People would have watched a piece of shit turn white if it had something to do with Avengers Endgame. And yes, people did want Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow to be the first female-led solo entry because she earned it. She was part of the MCU for years. Then in comes this bitch late to the party and all. It's just like, alright, here you go. Here's your movie. Like, what the fuck is that? How many bananas went in that mouth, Brie Larson? How many bananas did you eat? Not everyone was a fan of Larson in the role to begin with, but after she made a comment about white male critics, many more became upset. This led to petitions to have her ousted from the MCU. Thus far, these cries have been ignored by those in charge. Ooh, I wouldn't make that comment. Come back to that. Captain Marvel 2 is thought to be in the works, but there's no word on a date just yet. But yeah, you can't just say that those cries have been ignored by those in charge with no way to corroborate that. You don't know whether or not she's been reprimanded for any of her actions. They won't make that information public. Do you think they would? They're gonna announce like, oh, don't worry, we straightened her out. Like, what the fuck? In fact, all we saw was lately she's been trying to be more appealing, trying to be more personable, trying to look more feminine, trying to show more cleavage, more boobies in your face, you know what I mean? Which is a far cry from how she behaved before all of this nonsense. So if anything, based on what we've seen, there's more to go on the idea that these cries were not in fact ignored. And I'm not just gonna flat out say they were not ignored because, you know, I have nothing to corroborate that. But I'm not saying that with certainty like the article is suggesting. But if I were to guess, based on the personality shift, she was told to get her shit together and stop polarizing the fan base. But that's just my guess. Anyway, she sucks. Whatever. Let's move on. Gal Gadot will star in Wonder Woman 1984 this summer. Gadot has dealt with her fair share of backlash as well. When she was cast as Diana, the Amazon warrior who leaves home to save mankind, not everyone was on board. Yeah, I remember when she was first cast, everybody was like, she's too skinny, she doesn't have a lot of acting experience, she doesn't look like a super heroine. There's lots of criticisms back then. So yeah, that's a fair thing to say. However, she managed to win many over with her portrayal in the 2017 film Wonder Woman, which beat Marvel by almost 2 years for the first female-led solo film. And it was a great film. I loved that film. Watched it on opening night. I was so happy walking out of that theater. I was like, oh my god, finally a good non-Batman related DC movie. Jesus Christ. In the years since, Gadot has faced criticism primarily regarding her stance as it concerns the politics of her home country of Israel. However, in terms of her career, most of the fan reactions to her return in Wonder Woman 1984 have been positive. The sequel is due out June 5, 2020. We'll come back to the Israel thing because there's a point to be made there, but continuing on for now, we'll circle back, don't worry about it. Larson and Gadot haven't had many opportunities to appear together in any capacity. However, the 2020 Academy Awards changed that. The actors took the stage with Sigourney Weaver of Alien fame to announce the first woman conductor in Oscars history as she led the medley of the Best Original Score nominees. Weeks later, the two coordinated to share a set of photos on social media from the event. "Make love, not war," reads the caption. This is illustrated by the images. The first show them pretending to fight, while the second one sees them happy and embracing one another. Aww. Clearly, what they're saying is that we can all get along. Whether you're a fan of DC, Marvel, or gasp, both. It's all good. Just treat each other with kindness. That's easier said than done for some, but if Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman tell us to do something, we're going to listen. I would say I fall under the some in this example. I'm just kidding. Probably do, according to them, but whatever. It's really funny how all of this is playing out because SJWs love Wonder Woman, right? They love Gal Gadot. All of a sudden, she's amazing, right? Before the fucking Wonder Woman movie came out, SJWs were attacking the shit out of Gal Gadot for being pro-Israel and a Zionist. Even replying to that tweet, the "Make Love Not War," the first reply says, "It's a bit hypocritical coming from someone who supports Israel's actions towards Palestinians. Hashtag Free Palestine." And this all started when Gal Gadot posted on Facebook regarding the Israel-Gaza conflict. She uploaded this photo of herself and her daughter Alma praying, along with a message saying, "I am sending my love and prayers to my fellow Israeli citizens, especially to all the boys and girls who are risking their lives protecting my country against the horrific acts conducted by Hamas, who are hiding like cowards behind women and children. We shall overcome. Shabbat Shalom. We are right. Free Gaza from Hamas. Stop terror. Coexistence. Love IDF." And this really comes as no surprise. She grew up in Israel. She's an Israeli citizen. They're required to spend 2 years in military service for the Israel Defense Forces. And because of her prowess in the military, she became a combat trainer for the IDF, so of course she's pro-Israel. But because of this, SJWs harassed the shit out of Gal Gadot on Twitter, saying stuff like, "Sorry to burst your Wonder Woman bubble. Gal Gadot is a racist. Gal Gadot is a racist. Gal Gadot is a racist. Gal Gadot is a Zionist. Hashtag no thanks. We could have had a woman of color Wonder Woman. Instead, we got a white Zionist. I hope Wonder Woman flops because Gal Gadot is a Zionist and they recast her. Also, I'm feeling more than slightly disillusioned about Wonder Woman now that I realize what a vehement Zionist Gadot is. I like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. She does an alright job as Diana, but she is a Zionist and we can't forget that. She is super problematic. I just found out Gal Gadot is a Zionist. Wonder Woman cancelled." And I'm sure you get the picture, and there's hundreds more just like this. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know enough to take a side in the conflict. That is not my business. But I'm also not going to be the type of person that attacks a person for supporting their country when their country's in the middle of a war. That being said, it's hilarious how social justice warriors would attack Gal Gadot, but then when it serves their purpose, they just support her all of a sudden. How does that work? Because you know that the same SJWs that are showing their support, oh my god, I love Gal Gadot, are the same people that support like the whole anti-Israeli narrative that goes on in the news today. Bunch of fucking hypocrites, I tell you. And of course they don't want us comparing Wonder Woman with Captain Marvel. Wonder Woman's better. They don't want to devalue Captain Marvel. That's their favorite. That's Brie Larson. White man hating, Lego-faced biatch Brie Larson. STD of the MCU, skin color and gender before contents of character, Brie Larson, baby. But no, I'm not gonna stop making those comparisons because, like I said, Gal Gadot is a great actress, played Wonder Woman brilliantly. Brie Larson is a twat that played Captain Marvel like a block of wood, so it doesn't really matter whether they get along in real life or not. I don't know how that's relevant. Like, two people getting along makes it so they're not open to being compared to each other. Like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, the only reason why I would say that you should stop comparing or pitting Captain Marvel against Wonder Woman is because they're not even in the same league. If anything, comparing Gal Gadot to Brie Larson is an insult to Gal Gadot, so maybe I do agree with this article after all, now that I think about it. But that's all I got for this one. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. If you did end up enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends, family, whoever you think would be interested in garbage like this. If you're new around here, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and click all so you can always be alerted every time I put out another one of these blackened salmon fillets. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.